My grandparents had this beautiful house in Lewiston, Maine, and a house on Taylor Pond on around the lake. So we would go there, and I have a lot of beautiful memories from these times. And one day, I remember it was Thanksgiving Day, and I looked under a chair, and there was this box of old VHS tapes. So I'd never seen these before. So I go up to the kitchen. I see my grandmother cooking up a storm, and just ask her, Grandma, what are these tapes? I've never seen them. And she said, "Oh, those are just my old USC Showa Foundation tapes." I said, "Wow, that seems really interesting. Would you mind if I took a look, maybe bring them back to France?" And she said, "Sure. No one's listened to those in years, so knock yourself out." Okay, so I bring the tapes back, put them in my suitcase, go about my day. When I got back to France, I took the tapes out of my suitcase, brought them to the store, and a few weeks later got back this tiny memory stick. So I sit down in my first arrondissement tiny apartment with the little kitchen table and start looking at these tapes. So these were 30 years ago. I find my grandmother much younger than how I know her, and she's very well dressed, very articulate, and starts telling her life story to this interviewer. And this was fascinating to me because I got to know really a lot of details about her life growing up in Ansbach, Germany. That's a little south of Nuremberg in Bavaria. Growing up in this very Orthodox family, very small, tight-knit community. In the beginning, getting along very well with all her neighbors, Jewish and non-Jewish. And then she describes the rise of Nazism, getting thrown out of school, and eventually having to leave their house and living with an aunt in Munich because that was the only relative that they had in Germany. And finally, she describes finding this job at the Jewish hospital to train as a nurse and to work as a nurse because jobs were really scarce at the time for Jewish people. So this was a very special opportunity. She was very young, 18 or 19 years old. And then she goes into the description of the work in this hospital where all the doctors were Jewish, the nurses, the patients were Jewish. And she explains that this hospital stayed open for the entire war in Berlin, while all the things that we know were happening now in Berlin and in Germany were going on. So this was really amazing to me.